Pros, save more on what you need to get the job done right. Right now at Lowe's. Get 15% off select custom entry and interior doors. Plus, save $80 on the DeWalt 20-volt Max 2-tool combo kit. Now just $169. And at the Lowe's Pro Desk, bring us your materials list and get a quote in minutes. Handwritten, a photo, or even a sticky note is all you need. Keep your jobs moving faster and on budget at Lowe's. Valid through 7/8 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Bleav.
Doesn't matter if you were an Indian or if you're a Warhawk.
The ULM mention is the greatest.
This is the Bleav in the Warhawks podcast, powered by WarhawkReport.com.
With hosts Dusty Thibodeaux and Chase Regian. More important than baseball. Sorry, Ford. What on earth did I just walk into?
I think I'm doing this right, but he's yelling at me, so I'm not. And so,
what are these guys always talking about?
We talk a lot about food on this podcast, and I'm going to continue to do so.
So was that actually y'all's idea? That's awesome.
Nailed the introduction, by the way. Awesome.
Thanks,
I love
Fish.
it.
Chase, we're back. And that's after you sent me the text message. Hey, did we get canceled?
I was thinking about it. I was like, dang, I haven't talked to my friend in a little bit. And then, I just had to make sure that did we get taken off the air? I'm pretty sure we control that, but make sure we're still podding.
Life be lifing, and June content sucks.
In a general sense, absolutely. I'm sure. Yeah. We don't have to scrounge and how many baseball recap podcasts can we do? And yeah. But there is some cool stuff going on.
Yeah. Plus, I needed a break.
Yeah. I mean, I just stop responding when I can't do it and then just don't show up to the podcast. That's how I take a break. But, it is what it is.
Yeah, I know. Trust me. Been there. Done that. I went on vacation. Yeah. I am now recovering from the sunburns, though, Chase.
Put your toes in the sand, huh? You needed it.
You don't want to put your toes in the sand because there was seaweed everywhere and it stunk. It smelled like a fish market.
Smells every time I smell it. It smells like home to me, Tibbs. It smells like Monroe, Louisiana. I just love it.
That's actually coming from West Monroe, Chase.
That's true. That's true. Gotta check the wind in the morning.
Hard to believe we are 2-ish months plus, just over 2 months away from heading to Stark Vegas.
Stark Vegas, I'm excited, man. I've never been to Starkville. You ever been to Starkville?
I have. Been to a game, been there. A good friend of mine was a kicking prospect in high school, and we went on a trip over there to check out a game. Went over there for a summer camp as well for football. They were definitely interested in him and not in me.
It's okay. I always love the one kid on the side. It's his buddy that they came, and I was that guy. I had a good friend take me to Baylor and say, "Coach, you should give him an offer too." And the coach, Art Browse, looked at me and just kind of laughed and walked away. So I've been there, Tibbs. I'm with you. But I bought so I've had noise canceling headphones, but I bought some new ones this year. I assume I'm going to need them in Stark Vegas, huh?
Clinga. Cling, 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 cling.
Real stoked for that.
It's an experience. I'll say that, and it is extremely loud. Something I look back on. We have not played there, Chase, since '97. Do you know what happened in '97?
We
did not win, but we won in '96.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, he'd love to see that. Yeah, I mean, hey, if you're going to have to play the SEC games, you want it to be Mississippi State, Vanderbilt 5 years ago, Kentucky, let's play those guys, not Bama, and let them score a touchdown on every single drive. And yeah, tough.
I think they just scored again. But that Mississippi State game, I've started kind of digging in, taking a look at it. There's a lot of high expectations for them, knowing that they went to a bowl game last year, more so off of APR abilities, because they were 5-8 at the end of the year, losing the Duke's Mayo Bowl. But they have a now sophomore quarterback, Kamario Taylor, I think is his name. He's supposed to be legit, the true dual threat, and how he plays will be how good or bad the Bulldogs are this year.
I mean, I'm pooping on them a little bit, but they always have some studs. It seems like, especially recently, maybe they can't put it all together, but they're not a team you can ever just kind of look past. Obviously, now when they can pay a lot of money and we can't, it's going to be interesting to see. But at least we're not, when you think of like the Blue Buds or the Blue Chips, the Blue Bloods. What am I trying to say?
Blue Bloods?
Is it Blue Chips?
Blue Bloods.
You don't think of Mississippi State. With that said, we'll have to see how this Warhawk defense holds up against that, because I've heard the same thing.
All new offensive line as well, and so I think it's going to be how quickly can they come together over the summer and into fall camp. I don't want to say that that's the key difference of whether or not ULM wins or not, because quite honestly, I think if you talk to BV, this game is a live practice where he wants to go through the motions, kind of test some things out. Doesn't mean anything in the big picture of things. I think that second week at UAB is a bigger game to him, as well as than when you start Sunbelt Conference action.
Yeah, I think if BV comes out and say that, I don't hate that, right? Like, the game has changed so much when we beat Alabama, when we beat Arkansas, right? This world has changed so much that gap is so wide. And I think you use it, get your money, try not to get hurt, make a few good plays, see who you are, try to put an identity together. And I think those games you can kind of test where your strengths and weaknesses are pretty quick, and then just move on with life, man. I don't hate that at all.
Just don't give up 77.
Just look, at Bama, Tibbs, I got to tell you, I've got a whole folder in my phone of photos and videos where I was going to do, and I don't post a lot on social media, but I was going to do not come get ready with me or come with me to call on the sidelines, ULM versus Alabama. I had a bunch of pictures and videos and all the above. And then I just can't, I don't think I can ever bring myself to post it, because I just, I could just see the comments right now, and they're not nice. Okay. And it was too bad. It was too bad of a game.
Got to have some thicker skin there, Chase.
I guess so. I just got to post this cool video of me running out the press box and all the behind the scenes to Ty Simpson throwing 6 touchdowns on us. So
yeah, is what it is. But we have a great guest that we'll get to right now. Chase, the best show ever on TV was the Chappelle Show, right?
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I love Chappelle Show 100%.
What did Clayton Bigsby say that was kind of the trademark sign or trademark slogan that he had?
I'm Rick James, bitch.
No, that was a whole nother bit.
Oh, okay, my bad. That's all.
It was. If you got hate in your heart, let it out.
Okay, all right.
We get to do that tonight because we have the voice of the Bulldogs that are coming in to our Sunbelt Conference. They finally have to not be elitist. They can't dip, dive, dodge, duck us. But Kyle Schassburger, and I know I butchered it, and I don't care. I'll say it again. Joins us. Kyle, welcome in.
Gentlemen, happy to be here. That was as close as anybody can get while still getting it wrong, so I'll give you some credit. Shass, more like ass, okay? Think of ass burger. Can't tell you how many times I've had the last name on the back of a jersey, the SCH just stripped off, or somebody covering it up and trying to take pictures. So I've heard it all. It's fine, man, Shass. But I'm happy to be here and happy to be part of the Sunbelt officially as of July 1. So it's crazy. What a year it's been. It was short and brief for me in Conference USA, but I'm glad to learn about all of that hate and everything that comes with having that school down the road from us on I-20.
So I got to ask that because I feel like the old school ULM, me included, hated Tech because we played them in football. We've always played them in every other sport, soccer, softball, baseball. You go down the list. What was kind of your introduction of, all right, these are the guys that we absolutely hate? And how much of that hatred have you kind of felt as it's getting closer and closer to the start of Sun Belt Conference action and media days and everything else?
Well, I think from the moment I arrived on campus, it became pretty clear to me that there was one school more than any other school that it was inexcusable to lose to, especially in regards to football. And in doing the research, it's crazy to think we would have went 30 years was the next time we were scheduled to play in 2030. The last meeting was in 2000. So, like, just from an educational standpoint, it was kind of jaw-dropping to know, like, we didn't even play them. Like, is there even a rivalry? Like, what's going on? But the people love to, like, talk about the history and to conjure up the old feels. And the boosters that I'd had conversations with, or the old fans, or the old hands, that I link up with. And, as I was trying to endear myself to the community and the tech folks as much as I can, I continue to do so. That's a big part of what I do. But people love to talk about their hate for Northwest. And just what the school formerly was called. It will always be that to everybody at Tech. Now, you get less of that, obviously, with people of my age and people, who are much younger. But I just love kind of the barbs. And we see that with the Cajuns, right? And UL Lafayette, like that's another school that, we love to refer to them a certain way and not by what they ask. But I think it's just different with the school 30 minutes down the road. And people wear it on their sleeve. Like it's a badge of honor, a point of pride, the fact that there's been so much success. And I'm discounting what happened in baseball this past year because that's a sore spot, but still can't figure that one out. And many people, most fans will never figure that out. And it's kind of it's a weird reminder, though, of where we're at with college sports, right? When we begin to kind of pick this apart, like, today's players, and the fans don't want to hear this, they care so much about beating Monroe, about beating ULM, about beating Northwest Louisiana. But the players, like, yeah, they want to go out and play their best, but they don't care about any history of a rivalry. None of that is going to resonate with them. It's just not going to. They're getting paid. They're getting money in their pocket. They're just going out to compete. They don't care, and they aren't as hostile the way, the fans are. And that's always going to be a weird disconnect, I think, still here for a little bit more until, maybe, there's a washout with kind of the old guard of fans, but like you need that to help keep these rivalries intact. But so it's different, those baseball, and I know here I talk, right? So like, just shut me up. But like those baseball losses, like they hurt. It was despicable. The coaching staff, could feel it. They were extremely disappointed, but at the same time, it's baseball, right? It's easier to kind of flip the switch because you're going to go out and play the next day or the next weekend. And it was out of conference, right? Like that's the other part. The midweeks are such a coin flip. But now we're going into where all of these games, matter. And the fans who love this university so much and they love the dominance that Tech has had over ULM, they don't think there's any other world, where they're not winning at the end of whatever game, whatever competition is being had. And I have felt all of that, and I felt it on the losing end with baseball. But the stakes are going to be that much higher now, and especially coming up on October 17th.
Tibbs, he sounds like a Tech fan. Inexcusable to lose to ULM. Not even like a hatred. It's just like it's still elitist. It just kind of it gets, I don't hate Tech. I'm with you, Kyle, that, I never played them. And, the last time they played, I was 5 years old. So it's not like not like this new thing. But I will always say, I think you make a great point about how kind of when we play each other now, it matters. And I think that's so fun. And so I think that's good for college football. I think that's good for college athletics. And I just want to say that if we can always have one thing in common, and that is that we always hate the University of Louisiana Lafayette. Can you agree to that? Absolutely. 1,000%. There will be no argument from me there. We made them little brother in my one taste of that in a basketball game that we won by almost 30 in December. So that was fun. That was my introduction really into this, and had Southern Miss, had the Joe during this past football season. We're able to defeat them. They swept us for 3 games, unfortunately, early in the baseball season, but they were crazy good. So it's okay. They were very good. But
yeah, Louisiana, Lafayette, UL Lafayette, those guys from down there in Cajun land, yeah, hate them, despise them, and at least we can find common ground in that regard. Yes,
and you have to call him that on radio. Mike Hammett, voice of the Warhawks, does a great job where he consistently says the University of Louisiana Lafayette, and I hope you don't get sued for it, and I hope that your management's okay with it. But please, that's my only ask of you. If I can ask anything, is the University of Louisiana Lafayette.
I have every intention of honoring that request, and those conversations have been had since, again, the moment I stepped on campus and even beforehand. And I was indoctrinated in some way, even through the interview process on such a thing, because people just love to bring those sorts of things up, whether it's, the inexcusable sense of losing to a Monroe or how you refer to Louisiana Lafayette. Absolutely.
Fantastic. I love that's part of the interview process. Good for you, Ryan Ivey.
It's good for Northeast Louisiana. I agree.
So, Schass, what's the short name?
Schass.
Okay, we'll stick with that. Before you get into the Sun Belt, though, you got to cut a pretty big check. What was the feeling around Ruston when it kind of settled that it was going to cost $8 million to get into the Sun Belt a year earlier? Was there a point where it was maybe like, we'll wait that one extra year, or was it always screw Conference USA, we're out of here, we're going Sun Belt?
Well, that's if the $8 million is actually true. I'm of the belief, like, look, this was floated by one entity, okay, Front Office Sports, that then everybody else was running with. And like anything in media and social media and aggregation, that sort of thing, things just went ablaze, right? And then we had the 20-game schedule and all these other things. And it was like, and that happened before the reportedly, $8 million price tag. I don't care if it was 8, if it was going to be 20. I think it's the right move, and you do absolutely everything you can to get out. That would be the feeling. That would be what Ryan Ivey would tell you. Okay, does it mean there's going to be some lean years, or everybody's got to be a little bit more cognizant of what's going on over these next few years? Yeah, possibly, likely. But I would disagree to think that we're just cutting an $8 million check. Like, these are withholdings. This is distribution stuff. This is going to be, something over the next couple of years. It's not like, we're just handing over that amount of money. At least that's my belief. I have no idea. I could be talking on my ass. The good thing is I don't have to be involved, in those specific decisions. Like, I'm here just to call a game and tell some stories and, champion Tech athletics at every turn. So, like, with that said, that would be the company answer of, like, telling you, like, absolutely, like, you do this. Like, there's no more hesitancy. Like, look how long it got drawn out, in litigation, and, billable hours are always undefeated. Did this last much longer, this saga, than what anybody would have expected or anticipated when it started a year ago? When the announcement was made in mid-July, when Texas State pulled out in June, and Pete Thamel was reporting, around Father's Day that Louisiana Tech would be the favorite to join the Sun Belt, and then it officially happens, a month later. Did anybody think it would be drug out until, the early stages of May or the end of April? Absolutely not. There was a lot more optimism there, but we knew worst case scenario, it would be one more season. It would be 2 years, right? And maybe one more season. But Tech had their intentions immediately from the get-go. We were just going to do the 25-26 academic year in July 1, 2026. We were going to be in the Sun Belt. So it got done. It's official. People don't really like to know how the sausage is made. People love to speculate, right, and have their own theories on it. And it's no different here. So, like, I understand that there's always going to be a punching bag, I guess, sense to this as people see that number, hear that report, and, and you guys absolutely can have some fun with it, and most of the other teams and programs, and that's cool. That's fine. I don't believe in it, whatever, but it is what it is. We're here, gloves are off now, let's play ball. And I think, I'm sure we'll get more into this. It's as seamless, as commonsensical of a transition and switch in conference, membership that any single school, I think, has ever had. And if it is some record payout price tag, well, doesn't that make all the sense in the world when you consider the geography and the things that are at stake here at this moment? And it also speaks to the value, if true, again, of what Conference USA thought of what Louisiana Tech is. So, like, in a way, just a spin zone here, it's like, yeah, we're a coveted program with tons of upside, and people want us. People want to be aligned with us. The Sun Belt was taking us with open arms, right? And Conference USA was trying to protect so they didn't get fleeced, quote unquote, by maybe previous members leaving, such as a Southern Miss or an Old Dominion or a Marshall. And we all know how that went down with less time even given, a few years back. So you understand the whole thing. It's messy. It's whatever. I'm just glad I don't have to have a voice per se in it. I could just talk about it with you guys after.
Yeah, and I think the kind of tongue in cheek, right, that it's $8 million, but you're right. It's withholding those TV rights that you probably didn't get for the 25-26 year out of Conference USA, probably some other things that knock it down. So you're probably cutting a check for half-ish.
Maybe, yeah.
Last year, you got to close out, though, with some good old Sunbelt heat, going right down the road west to Shreveport for the Indy Bowl against Coastal Carolina in a wild, wild game. What were your thoughts on that, knowing that that might be one of the front runners for winning the East this upcoming year in the Sun Belt?
I've seen some projections with Coastal under Ryan Beard, their first-year head coach, who was the Missouri State head coach, and I think it was an excellent hire, by the way. Like, that is a home run for Coastal, and yeah, it should strike some fear into teams, certainly in the East Division, and Coastal's, I think, future prognostications, I don't think he's going to be long for that place either. I mean, he's going to stabilize it, he's going to do a rebuild, and then he's likely off to a bigger league. That's just my thought of who Ryan Beard is and the people he's surrounded himself in, the Petrino influence, and he married Bobby's daughter, and he's got a Petrino, helping out on staff and those sorts of things. So I thought it was a great showcase for us in the Independence Bowl, though, against, Jeremiah Johnson, your former defensive coordinator too, left you a year earlier, who was the interim following the exit of Tim Beck, which just never worked out at Coastal. And it was a microcosm of Tech's season, that entire game. That entire football game for 60 minutes, and what a wild ride, what a roller coaster it was. You weren't engaged for a lot of it early on because you're like, what are we doing? Like, we're making all the mistakes, not doing all the right things, all the things that might have hurt us or plagued us throughout the year in terms of, unable to move the football or establish a running game, or maybe giving up a couple of getting gashed too much in the passing game from a defensive standpoint. But and you found yourself behind. But what happened? You were wobbly. But you were able to reset, recalibrate out of the locker room and mount a comeback and win a game, and come back and win against a good Coastal team, a talented team. So when you look at Tech's season, they started 4-1. You won 4 out of your first 5 games, okay? But that fourth win in El Paso, one of my favorite places that I'm going to miss very much in Conference USA, it felt like a loss because you lost Kobe Fields to an ACL injury. Who's your preseason CUSA Defensive Player of the Year, the heartbeat of this team, the quarterback of the defense, arguably the most important player for this program, and he's coming back for another year. Started South Carolina, LSU, and now year 3 at Tech, so he's healthy. But you lost him in El Paso. You're 4-1. What happens then after winning 4 of 5? You lose 4 of 5. So that roller coaster. Since you lost your best player, you then fall. You're taking on Liberty on Senior Day, November 22nd. So at this point, your record is 5-5, right? And you're playing Liberty, and it's halftime. You're down. All of a sudden, in the third quarter, you're down 28-7. There was a lot of uneasiness you could feel. It was obvious, and I'm talking about the elephant in the room. Y'all can connect the dots here in terms of the direction of the program at that point. Okay, maybe some questions, right? Because you start 4-1, then you drop 4 of 5, and you're down 28-7 to Liberty on Senior Day, November 22nd, middle of the third quarter. And it was uninspiring. But at that point, a switch flipped. You end up winning that game in overtime, 34-28. You then go on to win at Missouri State. You finish 7-5 in the regular season. You win the I Bowl. You conclude with 3 straight wins, and it's your most wins since 2019. You earn your way to a bowl game. So that was the complete Tech experience, and some of those games were excruciating to be a part of. I think of the Delaware game and just how I thought that game was won 3 different times in the fourth quarter, and you lost. That was part of the early November schedule. But the fact that Tech and that team found a way to come together under Sonny Cumbie, super impressive, gives you a lot of hope, gives you a lot of optimism heading into this season. And you look at all the returning pieces, too, Kobe Fields being one of those, hopefully a healthy Blake Baker. Tech went through 3 quarterbacks again. That's kind of become the norm, but Blake emerges that pocket passer, likely QB1 type dude, but Trey Kukoc started the season as a quarterback and ended the season as a quarterback. And he's a dynamic runner, so he brings another element, and he'll be a part of this offense. So Tech returns as many pieces, if not more, than anybody else in the Sun Belt in terms of returning production. And off an 8-5 year, they're poised to build upon that, and I think they'll be a heavy contender for the West here in their first season in the Sun Belt.
I want to get technical for a second. For those that haven't watched Louisiana Tech, what can we expect on offense? What can we expect on defense? Who are they as a team? Who do they want to be as a team under Cumbie?
Last season with Luke Olson as the defensive coordinator, who Sonny brought in from Jacksonville State. Olson won a league title under Rich Rodriguez. Rich Rod went back to West Virginia. Sonny was able to pluck.
Hey, we don't like to say his name on this podcast, by the way. We don't like Rich Rod. Sorry.
Yeah. A lot of people don't. I've heard I've heard of a lot of stories as to why. I certainly
him and his bum son really did some damage to our program. So
I got you. So Luke Olson comes in, and Sonny found the perfect guy to take over with Jeremiah Johnson leaving for Coastal Carolina, and Luke had this take it mentality, and this take it mentality. What it netted was the most turnovers in the country, the most defensive touchdowns in the country. I think Tech technically actually finished third in takeaways for the year, but they had six defensive scores for a touchdown. I mean, it was incredible. You talk about an opportunistic defense. Jakari Foster, who had an All-American season, led the country in interceptions himself. They were flying around to the ball. The linebackers, even with Colby Fields going down early, you knew you had a chance still to do something special. Maybe not. You just kind of had to relearn who you were and allow these younger guys behind to get some run. But there's the tandem of Jaden Mayfield and Zarek Hill, who are these young linebackers who went to Ruston High, right across the street, who are now part of this pipeline. So there's a lot of pride. There's a lot of ownership in what they're doing and playing their prep days and winning state championships at Ruston High and now being at Tech. That's the future. Well, Jaden was a full-time starter this past year. Zarek Hill had to step up when Kobe went down. Those two are back to join Kobe Fields, who is here again. And in spite of some other departures, there's some depth there where Tech's linebacking room, I think, was the best non-autonomy forward linebacker room in the country, hands down last year before Kobe Fields went down, just because of the upside of these young guys. You had Chief Leota. You had Makai Mason as well, who transferred out. I think he ended up at Kansas State. Chief Leota ran out of eligibility. Unfortunately, he was a lot of fun to watch. But I think, again, with the depth and the returning pieces, like linebacker is going to be scary. These are going to be some of the best linebackers. That room just working together as one. Teams are really going to have a hard time, finding a way to generate offense. At least Tech's problem last year was giving up big passing plays. So because of that take it mentality and the aggressiveness, you can get hit by a long play in the passing game. So like that's something that teams can try to exploit if they can get vertical on you. But in terms of you finding success on the ground, it's going to be hell. This Tech team is very good defensively, and I think they will be again, even with the departures. Now, the thing about the passing game is that they lost all five on the back end. Their whole entire secondary is gone, all the starters. So, like, as good as they are at linebacker, and a guy like Emmanuel Ogans on the defensive line is back, and there's some other youth, but they got, a couple of different transfers. Juice, I think it's Juice Williams, is a guy they got from Florida. Love the nickname here. Let's see, I got a too deep up that I was working on. Like, they've gotten some dudes that hopefully they can plug in, but it's just, Juice Williams comes out of West Florida. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch, but like, what do they do in the back end? So an Amari Butler, Sam Fongang, Jordan McCray, Cameron Carter, Cam Franklin, those are some of the names that played last year. But are they going to be able to take that next step? And did they get enough transfers from elsewhere? Like they got an Arkansas guy that can plug in and things like that. Offensively, it'll be a run first. And you got Nathan Young now, who's promoted from offensive line coach. Tony Franklin, his second tour lasted just 1 year. He's riding off into the sunset. He's back into retirement. But Nathan Young has been part of this continuity under Sonny Cumbie since he arrived. Offensive line coach. Now he's going to tutor the quarterbacks. I did a podcast with him earlier this week on Tech Drive. Shameless plug. He made a joke. He's like, look, I got to get used to like coaching guys. Like, I'm used to coaching linemen, people that look like me, right? because he was an All-American offensive lineman at Abilene Christian. Now he's going to mentor the quarterbacks. He's going to take the keys to the offense. He was an interim OC a couple of years ago. And he's going to lean on those hog mollies up front because that's the position he played. And they're going to look to establish the run because there's a lot of question marks in terms of the skill position at wide receiver. You're not returning a lot of production. You're down 4 of your top 5 pass catchers. Eli Finley led the team in receptions. He is back, and he was a guy that he'll garner a lot of accolades at the tight end position, and he's extremely talented. But can he get involved more in the passing game? And then at running back, you got some youth there, but you added a couple of key impact guys in a Jaden Miller and a Kenny Thomas. Kenny Thomas, true freshman. Miller comes from Kaiser, NAIA school, so you hope they can hit the ground running right away. But it'll be run first. There'll be some gadget type stuff. Trey Kukoc, who's a dual threat quarterback, if he ends up being QB1, he's a better runner than he is a passer. But Blake Baker, whose season ended at Delaware, is back healthy off an ACL injury. He can run, but he's more your pocket passer. So it'll be a work in progress. You definitely feel a lot better about the defense, but if Baker can be healthy and you can incorporate Trey Kukoc still as an athlete, he will be on the field. So your second quarterback, if he's not QB1, Kukoc will be used on the field in some sort of role, kind of like, Taysom Hill, like you can put him in the slot, you can put him in the backfield. So like there's some excitement there in terms of, what kind of exotic looks Tech might have offensively.
You mentioned the elephant in the room there, the questions early on about Sonny Cumbie and what direction the program was going to go. Is he still in the hot seat, do you think, or is that still just kind of noisy fans being noisy fans?
Yeah, I think it's noise. Me only being there a year, and again, champion Tech here, right, as the voice, but also, reading the room. I hear enough chatter. I hear from enough folks, and it's always been since I arrived. I knew it's kind of been a mixed thing. As there's expectations here, and Sonny, you won't find a better human being in the world. Okay, I will die on that hill in terms of a head football coach. Like Sonny Cumbie is one of one. He is amazing, a spectacular human. Everything I've seen through my interactions, through the way he is with his team, the way he is with his staff, the way he is with his family, his wife, his kids, everything. All right, his father-in-law is at every football practice. So we're sitting there, chopping it up, watching practice together. He's an incredible human. The wins just haven't followed him. And it stinks. It's like that old cliche of nice guys finish last. And that's kind of been the stigma that he's had to shake, right? And that's why getting to 8 wins and winning a bowl game and earn your way there and then winning, like it was so huge. I think everyone could feel the relief and the weight maybe that has been lifted off Sonny's shoulders with the way his team performed, especially considering how dangerous things were at one stage last season when you're 5-5 and down 28-7 on Senior Day to Liberty at home. But then everything turned. So nobody's pulling for this guy more, I think, than this Tech fan base collectively. All right, I think people. I don't know if everyone has kind of turned the corner to accept. There could be, but that's fans. Fans are crazy, we're fanatics by definition. So you understand it. And that's the beauty of being a fan. So you don't want it to fall on deaf ears. You want to diminish, maybe the negativity that might be there or the conversation that somebody might want to have about, a change. Again, fortunately, I have nothing to do with that. I hope Sonny is a lifetime head coach of Louisiana Tech, or at least as long as I'm here, right? Because he makes my life, easy. And he's an incredible man. You just got to get all the right pieces and catch lightning in a bottle and be able to find a way to capture, the best out of this portal era and NIL and the resources, right? There's just so many things that are stacked against you in this era of college sports. So we're moving the goalposts every single day. So it's hard. This. I'm getting my pulpit here and preaching, but it's not none of this is easy. And the same, a lot of the same fans that might be so upset about today's student athlete not understanding the importance of a rivalry and how you can't lose to a certain team, might be the same ones that, can facilitate what happens to the head coach. It's it's almost, I don't know, some of it's it doesn't add up, right? You can't have your cake and eat it too type thing, but that's just being a fan, So I think he's it's not my job to say he's good. He's fine. You got to win. There's certain teams you can't lose to, right? Like I said earlier. So we'll learn a lot year one in the Sun Belt. There's no joke, about it. Every single week is going to be a massive, massive test. And the schedule doesn't do you any favors. I mean, Sonny year 5, his overall record is 19-31. All right, 19-31. So, like, you tell me, like, what do you think? Do you think that's hot seat worthy? Like, yeah, probably, but like, he just went 8-5 and won a bowl game. So, we'll let the chips, fall where they may. There's been a lot of struggles on the road, 4-21. So, like, everything's borne out in the numbers here. You're 4-21 on the road, but a couple of those road wins came just last year. You only had 2 road wins before that, in 3 years. But you win at UTEP and you win at Missouri State this past season. So, you open with Northwestern State, then you go to LSU, then you go to Baylor, and then Army comes to Ruston. Army is coming to Ruston. And it'll be a Chamber of Commerce weekend, October 3rd, and that's before Sun Belt play starts. So it's a difficult start. It's going to be tough. By October 17th, I think there'll be a pretty good feel about what this Tech team can do.
Well, we know as ULM fans all too well about the Army buzzsaw when it comes when it travels in. So I don't envy you there. I got one question for you, Shass. Oh gosh, I was so close. I was just prepping.
It's okay. I appreciate y'all's commitment to it. I do.
Well, we want to get your name right.
Yeah.
We're well known for getting names incorrect. They did some updates to the Joe. Can you tell me about them? What did they do to the old stadium down there?
Yeah, so we got a much bigger video board than the last time these two teams played, right, in Monroe and us. And I know we're going to Malone, on October 17th. But the Joe, from what I understand, looks like a completely different place than it once did. Let's say 15 years ago. When you consider all the improvements that have been made over the last 10 or 15 years, this will be 10 years that the new press box has been up. The only thing that really exists structurally that needs an update is both the grandstands, the seats on the west and east side of the stadium. Like, those are the only things that, look outdated, if you will. But everywhere you turn now 360 degrees with the student center that's being built. You got the Davidson Athletic Complex in the south end zone that the team runs out of, the locker room, the weight room. You can see through the glass windows. It's beautiful. It's spectacular. It's one of the best. And that was built, I guess, roughly, 10 or 15 years ago. That was one of the first major steps. And then the new press box, obviously. But in the north end, underneath the video board, which is monstrous. And at one point, and this will be year 3 of this video board, it was the biggest in the state until LSU had to redo theirs almost immediately because they weren't going to allow Tech to have a bigger video board, just in terms of, size and surface area. The student center is getting built underneath. It's the Origin Bank student athlete center for academic success. It's going to create additional space for some hospitality type things on game day in that north end zone underneath the video board. But it's a tremendous academic tool. And I know some people might be rolling their eyes. Academics, right? Like, it is still a university. All right. There is still certain funding and things that come in. And if you saw the academic center that Louisiana Tech has been using, it would look the same today as it did back when, oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, the 70s. So even before Karl Malone was walking around campus, when the TAC opened in 72, 73, whatever it was. So it's much needed. It closes everything in, right? So, like, I'm really curious about the acoustics because of that, taking advantage of the fan engagement things that we've been doing and growing as we all try to figure out new ways, right, to get people in the building, which is not unique to any one person or one program. If you're not an autonomy 4 school, and many of those Power 4 schools still have issues, right, especially with the access on TV. But we've been doing so many great things to get people in that building. I can't wait to see what it sounds like when we can get 20,000 like we did against Southern Miss, when you have the north end zone covered in and things are more landlocked inside that stadium. So we have a Blue Bloods program with our students that has been incentivized in a way where a lot of these loyalty point type things and potential, payoffs in terms of, access to this or that, or going on a trip, with the football team, or being able to have a meal at Squire Creek, with so-and-so. Like, there's been a lot of incentive-based things to help with the students, and it's obvious, So, the stadium is beautiful. We got a couple of new statues outside too. You got a Maxie Lambright one, and you have Joe IA, the Champions Plaza or Legacy Plaza that was debuted this past November. So that's in the south end, right next to the DAC. So it's cool. We don't have at this point what I can't wait to get more information on how ULM does it, because I feel like y'all debuted sort of that hospitality, like field level type thing. I think I'd seen some videos on that. Like, that's a really cool outside the box, way of doing things. And that can get people hyped up to show. And I wonder, what our student center might be able to provide or offer in that sense once it's completed, which we're hoping it's by October. So it's not going to be open at least for week 1, but by October we should be good.
We always talk food here.
Okay.
And of course, a couple places straddle Monroe and Ruston, but of course the staple of North Louisiana is Johnny's Pizza. I know you're a Chicago guy. It's not Chicago style, but what's your thoughts on the Chase? What's the proper wording of it? Imitation cheese?
Swamp? Oh, it's just cheese flavored product. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So Johnny's Pizza House slaps, as my 10-year-old daughter would say. Now, she hasn't had it, but like, I'm going to take a page out of her book. Bussin', slaps. It's good. Now, like, I am a pizza snob where, I have very high standards for my pizza, and I really try my best not to wade into that pizza pool if it's not worth, entering the temple that I want my body to be. All right. It certainly isn't there, because I eat and drink whatever I want. Okay. I just work out like a psycho to try and balance it. But I love brewery pizza, like that's as close kind of to kind of what my idea of Chicago pizza is, which is a misnomer because a lot of people think we're deep dish. No, deep dish is a tourist thing. All right. That's a novelty. That's a gimmick. Yeah, I love deep dish, but like, you're only eating that a few times throughout the year. Our everyday pizza is thin crust, and it's cut in squares. So what I'm getting at, Johnny's Pizza House, you slap that thing in front of me and I got rectangular cut pieces. This tastes and feels as much like a Chicago pizza as anything I've ever had. And the visual, the presentation is everything. So the fact that you are, not going to ruin a pizza by cutting it in triangles, and you are going to cut it in squares or rectangles. Now we're talking. Like I'm listening. So I've had Johnny's Pizza House maybe twice, in 1 year. So that tells you, how infrequent maybe I may have it. And I love talking Johnny's Pizza House because it is the Dave Dent's broadcast booth, delivered by Johnny's Pizza House. So let's share a slice. So love Johnny's, great partners. But the food scene to kind of take this in another area. I love Monroe. I love, and don't clip this. I'm going to ruin it. So you can't clip it right here. I love the scene in West Monroe. Flying Heart. A couple of the other establishments. I got some friends that live right there off the river. Good people, good young professionals. It's actually a very kind of eclectic, versatile group of humans that I've met, and they are mostly Tech fans. But there's a couple Warhawk fans in there. But I go out to West Monroe and frequent as much as I'm able to have a good time. Whenever I'm able to let my hair down, have a little bit of time. Sunday fun day during football season is definitely my thing. That was the only normal routine part of my life. Looking back at year one, I feel like was football season because you just had one game a week, right? So like I'm coming out to watch my Bears. I'll go to walk-ons or I'll go, tailgaters in Monroe across the river. I love tailgaters. Love the whole, the vibe of the train shot and all that. Like it's very cool. Like anything I can't, trying to be careful because I don't want to gaslight you, and gas you up too much. But like, if there's something I can't get in Ruston, and I love Ruston, it's beautiful. It has been phenomenal to me. It brings the best out in folks, that small community. But if I need a little bit more, I need an escape, or I'm kind of worried about my role too, my job. And it's like, I need a different area. Right. I'm just driving 30 minutes down the road. It's beautiful. Like Monroe and West Monroe are kind of become sort of a playground of sorts for me. So, and it's great pizza at Flying Heart Brewery also. And I can always count on live music Sundays at 6:00. So that's me and good beer.
That is by far the best answer anybody has ever given us to that question. And I just want to say thank you so much for affirming that Johnny's Pizza is good pizza. Okay. Now, are you going to have it once a week? No. Are you going to go and sit down? No. But when you get it, it's just that special moment of you and gluttony and some cheese flavored product. And it kind of turns me on. It gets a little weird when me and Johnny Pizza, I just love it so much.
It's a little provocative. And I should note, I know, this is an audio only podcast, but I am wearing, as you can see, a Rotolo's Crafted. I'm just hitting all the partners here. By the way, Flying Hard is not a partner, but you know where to find me. We would love to take care of you. But my Rotolo's Craft and Crust hat. So that's where I do my coaches shows every week, football, basketball, and baseball. Inside Bulldog football, basketball, and around the diamond with Lane. So I love Rotolo. Their pizza is phenomenal as well. Enough, at least relative to what my standards are of what non-Chicago pizza is. And they do a cracker thin at Rotolo's that they also will cut in squares. And again, it's just the game changer of just knowing you could cut it in squares. All right. And it's a thin crust. It's just beautiful. So, and their deep dish imitation is not that bad. They do a Detroit style too. I bag on Detroit style pizza more than I bag on New York style pizza. Just because of the proximity there. But yeah, respect to Johnny's Pizza House, respect to Rotolo's Craft and Crust.
Awesome stuff. Can't thank you enough for stopping by, talking with us. Looking forward to seeing you in New Orleans. Chase, still anti-New Orleans and will not be there.
Looking forward to seeing you in Malone Stadium. Thank you so much for coming on.
Gentlemen, this has been beautiful. I hate to disappoint Dusty because it's moved up a week. I was planning on it being the week after. I'm going to be at Oak Island Beach in North Carolina with my daughter during Sunbelt Media Days. So I'm disappointed I'm going to miss my first opportunity, but I have a feeling I'll be seeing you pretty soon. And yeah, at worst, both of you on October 17th. So appreciate you guys so much. Go Dogs.
There it is. Chase, the voice of the Bulldogs, Kyle Schassburger.
There you go.
I mean, he only had to correct us, every time we said it. So I might as well get it right when he's not here.
The Asperger comment is what did it for me. That made a lot of sense. I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the only thing I could think of was the scene in Vacation where Christina Applegate goes back to her sorority for the Asperger's fundraiser.
Never seen it.
God, you just.
But I'm sure somebody found that really funny. I'm sorry. It's like the number one improv rule. I'm sorry, I messed that up there.
You just killed that whole bit there.
I'm sorry, but Shass was great, man. I think he's young into tech world, right? He's a year in, but to hear that at least there is still a little bit of hate, I think is really great. And I'm excited. They've got a long road in the Sun Belt this year, and all of a sudden they're playing every other week. They're playing a rivalry game, so I'm excited to see who Tech is here, and I'm excited that they get to come to Malone because Tibbs, you and I both know that it's hard to come in and play at Malone, and none of those people have ever done it.
No,
and I know that they like to poo-poo on our stadium and they like to poo-poo on Monroe, but wait till they're sitting in the poo-poo and getting splinters on their ass from those visitors' locker room seats. Okay, it's a different game there.
Where do you see them being picked? Knowing that we're less than a month away from Sunbelt Media Days, where that preseason coaches poll comes out, I personally think that they're probably a 4 or 5 in the West. If you had to pick it, probably 7th overall in the league if you stacked all 14 together. I think they're middle of the road because I think people know that Cumbie's going to be good. He's going to have a competitive team, but they're not sure what that means with them now having to face the ULMs, the Lafayettes, and everyone else that really they kind of put their thumb in their eye in previous years that I think everybody's going to be gunning for that game.
Yeah, I have them at 5th in the West. I think that's a comfortable spot for them. Of course, we're going to get picked last. That is what it is. But I really think they're a little bit lower overall. I think they're going to walk in with the assumption that Conference USA and the Sun Belt are close. That Sun Belt might be a little more competitive, but I think they're going to find out there's a big difference right now between the quality that you see of football in the Sun Belt versus the Conference USA. I think they're going to be, what little research I've done with, I think Schass was right. Like, I think they've got big questions at quarterback. I don't think, like, he kind of acted like they were probably going to go with this guy, but I think they don't know. And I've heard about their linebackers. I've heard their corners are terrible and that their back end is terrible. I haven't heard much about their D line. So I think they're going to really struggle early on because I think people will be headhunting for them because I think it's the game this year to kind of knock them down, especially Louisiana schools. I think both schools see them as elitist, long-standing rivals that you want to knock down a peg.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think also the other thing that we really have to consider is this isn't just the Louisiana schools. There's still a lot of hatred from Southern Miss.
I was about to say Southern Miss is a big rival. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that's really going to be a big deal. Arkansas State's got a little beef with them from back at the New Orleans Bowl days of having to deal with them running literally all over the Red Wolves in that game, but they want another shot at them.
I just hope some of this, and Schass kind of alluded to this, but I hope some of that still lives. You know what I mean, Tibbs? Like, we've kind of moved into an era of, I agree with, it hurt to hear him say this, but like, I don't know how much the players care. I remember, 3 years ago, BB's first time in Lafayette, I was, we both know I lose my voice those games, and I'm screaming like an idiot that is the fat guy on the sidelines with a mic in his hand. But still, it's ingrained within me to hate those guys, and I don't know if that still lives because even in our pre-production meetings, BV, I think BV gets it now, and I think he's getting it for Tech. But at the time, it's just so different that I don't know if that pure hatred. I think it's not just another game, but it's also not this like 1,000% effort type thing you're going to go with because we don't have the, you're not going to be there for 5 years and see it done. I mean, maybe Aiden, but like besides a few players, you're not going to be there forever and kind of get to hatred and get to know a team and the history of a program enough to really push yourself that extra effort because you hate them so much.
NCAA passed it, Chase. The 5-year rule. You got 5 years to play 5 seasons. Is that something that fixes that gets us back on the right track where you're kind of married to the school, good, bad, or indifferent, unless there's a coaching change? You get the one free transfer. Does that fix some of it?
It helps. I don't think we can ever get back to a point, and I don't know if I ever want to get back to the point of what I'm saying. I think I missed that part of like what we had from Fish, right? That he was here, he was coming here, he wanted to be a Warhawk. He wants his name there, and he was a really great player for us. Because now you can still transfer, which I think is great for the player. So I'm kind of torn in a way, Tibbs, to be honest, because I think there is some times where you're not in the best position. You may not be in the best offense. You may not be in the best defense. You might not like a way a guy coaches. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons of why to transfer, and so I do like that. But to answer your question, I think it helps. I think you now have the ability to maybe have a better chance to stick it out. And then if you just pop off 1 year, you go get paid somewhere else, and hopefully you can play there for a few years and do the same thing. But yeah, I do think it's helpful. I really like the rule. I think it was a good common ground. They've just got to get NIL in check now. That's the problem, in my opinion.
Payroll to make. Ironically, I saw the Pony Express yesterday.
Where?
Flipping through. It was on ESPNU, I think, or one of those.
Very cool. Yeah.
Tales from the road. What do you have, Chase?
I'm not the one that just went on vacation. Oh, I do. I do have something. I have been very lucky enough to have been chosen to volunteer at the World Cup with FIFA World Cup here in Dallas. I am not at the stadium. I am unfortunately off grounds working with the Volunteer Center. Maybe actually I don't have a story from it. Maybe that's just a humble brag, or that's just a straight up brag. But I've been volunteering with the World Cup. I've been busy myself. I'll ask you the same question. You're the one that went to Mexico for a week. Stuck your toes in the seaweed.
Yeah. Learned what a quaddy is. Do you know what a quaddy is?
Never heard of her.
Think of it as a brown raccoon, long bushy tail, and almost like a pig snout. They're everywhere.
I thought it was going to be a drink, to be honest.
No, these were like animals that were just creeping all around the resort. In addition to the iguanas everywhere, going for the morning walk. That we would have to watch where you're stepping, so that you didn't get bashed by one of those. But other than that, it was a great time. Ironically, met some people from the good old Lake Charles, including SID of McNeese State, Matthew Burnett.
That's awesome. A little weird. You're wearing a ULM shirt, I'm sure. And they said, hey.
Yeah. So we had a good talk about Will Wade and, how Coach V's down there tearing it up at McNeese once again.
Yeah, good for Coach V. It's a good spot for him.
Chase, it was so much fun. We'll do it again soon.
We'll see you soon.
So what are you proposing?
It's simple.
Perhaps you should read the instructions first.
If you liked the show, like and subscribe wherever you stream podcast.
Is that good for us or bad for us?
Follow us on X at Warhawk_report. Like us on Facebook at Warhawk Report, and click the subscribe button on YouTube for Fun Belt Podcast.
He's done! Done? It's only been an hour.
Pros, save more on what you need to get the job done right now at Lowe's. Get 15% off select custom entry and interior doors. Plus, save $80 on the DeWalt 20-volt Max 2-tool combo kit, now just $169. And at the Lowe's Pro Desk, bring us your materials list and get a quote in minutes. Handwritten, a photo, or even a sticky note is all you need. Keep your jobs moving faster and on budget at Lowe's. Valid through 7/8 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.